Mahadran, everybody lights one candle each night. Mahadran, in a Mahadran, we go a step further. Everyone lights an additional candle each night. That's how we do it today. But guess what? We follow the Rambam with its party. We usually don't follow the Rambam when we have Ashkenaz leaders. And the Ashkenaz leader, Tosfot, says we should not do it that way. He says like this: if you want to just go by the letter of the law, he agrees, one candle per household. If you want to go a step further, everyone lights one candle. Third level, here's where they differ. Only the father lights, but he adds a candle each night. If you're going to have a candle each night added, don't have everyone out light. Have just one person light, just the father. We don't follow that. The Sephardim do that. In the Sephardim, they have only one person lights an additional candle each night. So we all pick level number 3, but we have different opinions what level number 3 is. So here we have where it's called Sephardim follow the Ashkenaz, Ashkenaz follow Sephardim. Interesting. First of all. Okay. So here we have a Mishnah, the only Mishnah in the entire Talmud with the menorah of Hanukkah is discussed. Take a look at the second page, the first page in Hebrew. Is it the right one? That's what is the right one. You know the page? Yeah, right. This is where it starts. Starts on 21b4. 21b4. And it goes to 21b5. Page 21b4, see on the left-hand side of the page, you see the number 21b4. You also can see it's chapter 2 of Shabbos, second tractate of Masechet Shabbos. The page is 21b. Okay. Look at the right side of the page, not the left. The right side over here. In the middle of the column on the right, you'll see the Gemara attempts to derive a Hanukkah law from a Mishnah that discusses the law. And here's the only Mishnah in the entire Talmud where the Hanukkah menorah does damage. The Hanukkah menorah, the menorah is discussed, but it's not the halach of how to light the menorah so much, although it does mention it. It mainly discusses a menorah that causes damage, that did some damage and caused a fire. I just want to mention something before we get on the board. I wrote something here. I don't know if you noticed it. One of the million answers to why we keep 8 days Hanukkah, not 7, even though the miracle was only for 7 days because we had enough oil for 1, is because, as I mentioned in the other class, Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, not Shammai, the students of Shammai and the students of Hillel have a disagreement. Do we go from 1 to 8 or 8 down to 1? Right? 1 to 8, 8 to 1. Beis Shammai says the first night you light 8, second night 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Speak Spanish?
Also.
Well, let's see. Who speaks Spanish?
Julie.
She's not here?
Correct.
Yeah, she's not here.
Okay, so I was gonna say 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, yes, whatever. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hanukkah spelled out. Ches stands for 8. The nun of Hanukkah stands for candles. 8 candles. We light 8 candles, not 7, because the halacha, the vav stands for, and the halacha, ki, the chaf. I should have put hill over here. Ki, base, the halacha, like so here you spell ches nerot, the halacha base hillel. The letters Hanukkah spelled. We light 8 candles, and remember, follow Beis Hillel, not Beis Shammai. Now, we would have 7 nights Hanukkah. Would you be able to tell on night number 5 whether you're following Shammai or Hillel? Let's say it's night 5, and I see now if you go from 8 down, so number 5 would be 8, 7, 6, 5. What's that? 8, 7, 6, 5. I'm sorry. Make believe you only have 7 nights of Hanukkah. What would happen on night 4? If you're Hillel, how many candles would you light? 4. If you're Shammai, how many candles would you light?
5.
No, start with 7. 7.
4.
Also 4. If you don't have 8, just have 7 candles. We'd only celebrate 7 days Hanukkah. On the 4th night, you wouldn't be able to tell if you're a Hillel fan or a Shammai fan. And the Torah and the Hanukkah says, remember, every night it should be apparent from the amount of candles you light that you're following Hillel. So every night has to be different. You have to have an even number. If you have an odd number, 7 candles, then you're not going to know on the 4th night whether you're following Hillel, you went from 1 to 4, or you went from 7 down to 4. Did I go up to 4 or down to 4? Was it 7, 6, 5, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4? So we cannot have an odd number. We have to have an even number of Hanukkah. One of the answers that are given why we cannot celebrate Hanukkah for 7 days has to be an even number. Okay. I also want to mention something cute. You notice in your siddur, Hashem's name is sometimes spelled abbreviated, 2 yuds. You ever see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do they stand for? Why 2 yuds? Okay, so I'll tell you.
Please.
Huh?
Please.
Please. Hashem has 2 names that sound alike. Yud Kei Vav Kei. How do you pronounce it? Ado and Noi. Ado. You don't pronounce it the way it's written.
Mm-hmm.
Lo korim k'mo shenichtav.
Yeah.
Yud Kei Vav Kei. Ado. Aleph Daled Nun and then Yud. Also, so they both have the same pronunciation. They both sound the same. So we take the first letter of the Yud Kei Vav Kei and the last letter of Hashem's other name. The last letter of Ado and Noi is Yud. The first letter of Yud Kei Vav Kei is Yud. Yud, Yud. So it incorporates both names. It includes the Kolel Shnei Hashemot. Oto Rishon Shel Yud Kei Vav Kei, Oto Acharon Shel Ado Noi. I heard a different explanation. Today's the 26th day of Kislev, 26. What's 26? Gematria, Hashem's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei is 26. But every time we have 26 of Kislev, how many candles do we have? 2. What do candles look like? 2 yuds. Look at a little fire. Look like yuds. So the 2 yuds are a hint for the 2nd day of Hanukkah, which has 2 little lights, look like a yud, and it's a 26th day. 26 is the gematria of Hashem's name. So instead of saying Hashem's name, we say the gematria, which that gematria, 26. On the 26th day of Kislev, you'll see 2 yuds, like tonight. Last night. Night is 3 already, but last night was 2. I want to mention one more thing about the Rebbe once said every night of Hanukkah is special. You know why? First night of Hanukkah, beginning. Matzu Pach Shemen, they found the Pach. Now for the first night, you wouldn't have any Hanukkah holiday. Kol hascholot koshot. All beginnings are hard. We witnessed the first miracle on the first night of Hanukkah. We found the oil. And now we have the oil, the second night of Hanukkah is very special. Why? The Pamar Rishon Shemosifim. It's the first time where we don't say it's enough to light just 1, we say we have to add a candle each night. The first time we add was last night. Night 1, we didn't add, it's lit. Night 2, we said 1 is not enough, let's add 1 more. What's special about 3, the 3rd night of Hanukkah, which is tonight? Chazaka. When something happens 3 times, it's here to stay. The kavua. Masha osim shalosh pamim ritzufim.
Why? Like
That's
it's
what it says.
something
What it
we are
says.
believing this?
Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. We have 3 great tzaddikim, and now we come from all those. So these are our forefathers. Chut hamishulash lo b'meheira yinatek. זה פסוק. אם זה משולש, מה שקורה 3 פעמים, זה יהיה נצחי. That's why the Jewish people are founded on 3 fathers, 3 forefathers. כך כתוב. נגיע להרבה הלכות. I'm not going to get into detail, but something happens 3 times, it's a problem. A problem. It could be a problem, and it could also be something very good. 4th night of Hanukkah. What's special about the 4th night of Hanukkah, which is Motzei Shabbos? It's the first time. We have 3 times where we added. The 4th night, it's the 3rd time that we add a candle. So we're now making a chazaka in adding. Not the chazaka in Hanukkah in general, but we 3 consecutive times. 3 times, Shalosh Leilot Ritzufim, We light one more candle. Second night we added once, we added one candle. The third night we added a candle, the fourth night added a candle. So we make a chazaka of adding. Fifth night of Hanukkah is special.
The tipping point.
Uh-huh.
Is it like the tipping point?
Yeah, because now Chamesh, Yesh Mona, Chamesh, 5 are lit and 4 and only 3 are not lit. The Rov, Rov HaMenorah, Yesh, or there's a light, there's fire. But there's also another reason why the fifth night is special. You want to know the other reason? Which night of Hanukkah cannot fall out on Shabbos? There's only one night of Hanukkah that can never fall out on Shabbos. The fifth night. Every night of Hanukkah can fall out on Shabbos, except for the fifth night.
Wow.
That's how it was made. What does that show? The fifth night does not get along with Shabbos. If you can't fall out on Shabbos, that means that you're far from the Ruach of Shabbos. It's a very low night. And yet Hanukkah elevates that night also. So it's dark. If you can't be on Shabbos, if you can't get along with Shabbos, you're pretty dark. And Hanukkah is able to uplift it. The sixth night of Hanukkah is special. It's always Rosh Chodesh. The seventh night can sometimes also be Rosh Chodesh. Like this year, we have 2 days Rosh Chodesh, 6 and 7. But some years we only have 1 day Rosh Chodesh, the middle of Hanukkah, and it's the 6th night. The 7th night is special, because the menorah has 7 branches. Hanukkah comes because of the menorah. And the 8th night of Hanukkah is special, and we have the whole menorah lit. It has a name, Zos Hanukkah. Now Hanukkah is complete. And when you're complete, Nikmar, the Mashal Miyuchad. Something special when you have a complete 8 days. But every night of Hanukkah has something unique about it. There's no dull night.
I'm sorry, what did you say 7 was? What did you say 7 was special for?
The menorah and the Beis Hamikdash had 7. We commemorate them. Why do we light the candles now? Because of the miracle that happened with the menorah and the Beis Hamikdash. And how many branches did it have? 7. Let's take a look at the Mishnah here. Tanan Hosa. We learned there. Tanan always means, when it says Tanan, you see the Hebrew word Tanan, it means Lamadnu b'Mishnah. We learned in the Mishnah. What did we learn? A strange story here. The guy, a blacksmith, was and a spark came out of the hammer and it caused a fire. And it burned someone's store down. It started a fire and it caused a lot of problems. A spark flies out from under a blacksmith's hammer and went and damaged another property. Chayav. Even though it's kind of strange that this should cause a fire, he's still liable. You can't give an excuse, well, I didn't expect any fire to come out of his hammer. Then we have another story. Gomel, Sheton Pishton, a camel that's laden with flax, with Pishton. A camel laden or loaded with flax was passing through a public domain, or but he wasn't careful. The Nichnasa Pishtono, and the camel, the flax that was loaded over the camel's back was very, very long. And it protruded, Nichnas Bichanut, in someone's store. He rode very close to the store, and the guy had his window open, I guess, and the flax went right into the store. And right at the window of the store was a candle. And was ignited by the shopkeeper's light. This guy lost his flax, but the other guy lost his whole store. The hidlikas habira, and the burning flax then set a mansion outside ablaze. It caused a big mansion, a big house, a big gigantic house on fire. So now who's chayiv? Who's responsible for what? Who's responsible for each other's damage? The answer is Baal HaGamol chayiv, the owner of the camel. The camel owner is liable for all damage, for the damage of the entire building. Because you can't blame the guy who had the candle. He had it in his house. He had it in the store. Whatever house it was. He didn't do anything wrong. I kept my menorah, I kept my light. Those days everything there was no electric, of course. So everything was through a candelabra. I kept my candelabra inside. And you were not careful, and you allowed your camel to pass through, and you were very close. You're the perpetrator. You're the problem. So the Baal HaGamol has to pay. However, that's only if the menorah was not a menorah of Hanukkah. So if, let's say you had a regular light, not a Hanukkah menorah, and you live next to your window, and someone riding a camel rider had his flax protruding, entering into that window, catching fire, burning the whole house down, the camel owner is obligated, is liable to pay for it. You're a fault. You're negligent. Why would you careful? Can't blame the guy who put the light over there. Why shouldn't I have my light? It's my house, my store. But what happens? The next line. What happens if the Chemini, the storekeeper, did not have his not the Hanukkah menorah, regular candles for light. He didn't have it in the store, he kept it outside the store. Let's say he had some candles outside the store. And those are the candles that caught fire. Let's turn to the next page. If, however, the shopkeeper, on 21b5 on top, the shopkeeper placed his light outside the shop in the public domain, the shopkeeper is liable. Because who told you to put your candle outside? People drive by. You gotta be responsible. Candles belong inside a home, not outside home. How about if it's Hanukkah? So originally, how you doing?
Sure.
Okay.
A little better.
What happened to the Hanukkah menorah was placed? What happened to it wasn't a regular menorah, it was a Hanukkah menorah. The guy placed his Hanukkah menorah outside like we're supposed to. Those days they'd actually put the candle menorah on the outside door, not the doors like we have it inside. Well, Pesach based on the Bachutz. So he did the mitzvah. And now the camel rider goes by and it catches fire is caught, the flax is caught on the with the menorah and it causes his flax to get burnt. Who's liable for that now? And it could also have burnt down the entire store. This. So what happens if it's a Hanukkah licht? Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Bener Hanukkah, if the person the storekeeper, put his menorah of Hanukkah, not a regular menorah, which those days people didn't have any electrics, they used a menorah all year round for light, but it's a Hanukkah menorah and it was placed outside where it's supposed to be, then you can't blame the owner of the store for placing his Hanukkah menorah outside. That's a mitzvah. He was doing, and if you're a camel driver, you know it's Hanukkah, be careful. People have their lights outside. Be very careful. Don't have your camel overloaded. If you do, you're negligent because you know it's Hanukkah. You know it's Hanukkah. You got to be careful. Now here's the Gemara style here. It's a twist. Okay, ready for the twist? This is not what you've been used to learning. This is old style learning. Okay, put on your boy head. Amar Ravina. Ravina wants to draw an inference here. Let me ask you a question. How high should the Hanukkah menorah be, by the way? How high should it be?
31 inches. The flame or?
The flame could be higher. The actual place where the bottom of the menorah. 31 inches is correct. Around, some say it's a little more than 31, 33, 34, 10 tefachim. What happens if it's above 10 tefachim? It's kosher. It's just not the best way of doing the mitzvah, but it's kosher. What's the maximum height?
20.
20 amot. That's about 30 feet, 30 plus feet. Pretty high, because you can't even see it. Now, ideally, the mitzvah is done the best way, below 10 handbreadth, between 3 and 10. You can't be below 3, by the way. It's like on the floor. Anything below 3 is like considered like a put on the floor. Special law in Torah. Anything within 3 tvachim is too close to the floor. So the best way is between 3 and 10. That's the mitzvah. So now the Gemara is going to say, I have proof to that. We have proof that you're supposed to light your menorah pretty low. Because if you would be allowed to light the menorah, if the halacha would be you can light the menorah even as high as you want, as long as it's less than 30 feet, why is the guy who put the menorah outside putter? Why is he exempt? I know it's Hanukkah. Put it higher. You know camel drivers are coming through. Put your menorah above the level of the camel driver, of the camel. And then nothing would have happened. So why is it that Rabbi Yehuda says, oh, if it's Hanukkah, then he's exempt? He shouldn't be exempt. What does that prove? Here's the inference from that is, No. Hanukkah, you can't put too high. You can't blame the guy putting it too high because he wants for the mitzvah to put it low. Oh, so Yehuda, the Gemara is trying to say from Rabbi Yehuda's rule that the owner of the store owner who places Hanukkah menorah is potter, is exempt. Amar Ravina said in the name of Rabbah, Zotomeret. From here we can prove this ruling of Rabbi Yehuda indicates that the requirement to place the Hanukkah light within 10 tvachim, tvachim means handbreadth, of the ground, must be the case. It must be there's a mitzvah to light the menorah low. Because the E salka daita is immoral language. The E is salka daita. For if it would enter your mind, salka, nichnas. The im, E the im. Aramit, the E, im, salka, yaleh, bedatra, imashu yaleh bedatrolka. If it enters your mind, L'mayla ma'asara, that you're allowed to light your candles above 10, then why should he be putter? Lema lay, let the damaged party say to the shopkeeper, the owner of the menorah, you should have placed your Hanukkah light above the height of the camel and its rider. When you knew that a lower placement is hazardous, you know it's dangerous to put it low. Why don't you put it higher? Since the damaged party is denied such a winning claim, he does not have that winning claim, we may conclude that it is indeed a mitzvah to place the Hanukkah lights within 10 tefachim on the ground. Got it? What's the inference? We say he's putter. Why is he putter? Hanukkah. What if it's Hanukkah? Light it higher. I can't light it higher. Because I love it. We have a proof, but you can't light the menorah too high. Because if you would be allowed to light it high, you would not be putter. That's the... Huh?
Alter,
Which word?
alter, you said in English.
Alter?
You're not allowed to.
Where do I say palter?
Patur?
Patur, I said. Patur.
Okay.
Exempt.
It's an Hebrew.
Palter is a baker, by the way. Palter is a word in Hebrew. Palter,
Yeah, patur.
yeah, patur. No, but I think palter is a gamila. Palter means
Palta.
palter. So here the Gemara has just proven, this is boys stuff here, that it must be, because girls usually learn just like this. We have proof that it must be the halacha is you have to light your menorah low, because if the halacha would be you can light it as high as you want, why would the menorah, the guy who put the menorah, be exempt? He should be liable. There's camels driving by, be careful, put your menorah higher. I know it's Hanukkah, so light it higher. Answer is, I can't light it higher because the halacha is. Now the Gemara is gonna here it comes again. Yeah, you understand the proof? Gemara is not gonna reject this proof.
Of course.
This is cute. The Gemara is not convinced by this argument. Really, in all honesty, I'll tell you what I'll say. In all honesty, no, the menorah can be put higher. So why is he putter? You know why he's putter? We're gonna tell the guy who's trying to do a mitzvah. Maybe he doesn't know the halacha so well. We're gonna tell him that, you know what? Your Hanukkah menorah did damage, pay for it. You know what? If that's the case, I'm not lighting my menorah anymore. Or I'll light it just inside, which is not a good mitzvah. I'll light it inside and leave me alone with Hanukkah. We don't want a person to be turned off from lighting Hanukkah menorah. If you're going to make him pay all because of the mitzvah he was doing, he won't want to do it anymore. So really the truth is he's really wrong. You should have lit it higher. The truth is there's no mitzvah to light the menorah low. Really it could be that you could have lit it higher, but we don't want to bother him. Therefore, our inference, our proof is now fallen to the wayside. It could very well be that he was supposed to light the menorah higher, but we're still going to make him putter, exempt, because we don't want to bother him and mislead him to start no longer observing Hanukkah properly. Let's see it inside. But perhaps, Gemara says, if the shopkeeper is put to a great deal of trouble, paying for all the plaques, it's not he will eventually refrain from performing the commandment of the Hanukkah lights. Hence, his non-liability may possibly derive from this consideration. Not that he could have done better, but we don't want to bother him. And it cannot serve as a proof that Hanukkah lights should be placed within 10 tefachim of the ground. That's the end of this piece. So what's the final conclusion? We have no proof. But the halacha still is. The halacha still is today that we do light the candles. We have no proof, maybe, but we still believe that it should be lit within 10 tefachim. All the Gemara says is don't try to prove it. But you don't have no proof. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means we have no proof that you're right. If I say there's no proof that you're right, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It means I can't prove that I'm right. Okay. There are different opinions, by the way, amongst the poskim, and we follow the rule that it should be lichatchila, within 10 tefachim. It's not possible until it's 30 feet high. Okay. Now we have a whole bunch of interesting pieces on here. Now, 10 more minutes. Okay. Omar Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana said, Rav Kahana is the name of a Talmudic sage. Dorash Rav Noson Bar Manyumi Mishmei Rav Tanchum. Rav Noson Bar Manyumi expounded, made a drasha in the name of someone called Rav Tanchum. That's his name. What did he say? 25, 21, now 22. The next page is 22A1. Next page. Ner Shel Chanukah. Binicha Lemailo Mi Esrim Amma. Page 22 of Tractate Shabbos. What's the connection to Shabbos? Like Shabbos candles. It's the chapter in Masechta Shabbos that talks all about what types of oils and wicks are kosher for Shabbos lighting. Then it gets into Hanukkah. By the way, talking about Shabbos, let's talk about Hanukkah. What types of oils and wicks are kosher for Hanukkah? And that's how we got into the whole subject of Hanukkah. I didn't learn the beginning. The Hanukkah story starts on a page before, but I skipped all that. I learned it last year, and I felt I don't want to learn something I learned last year. So this is something I didn't learn yet. But Amar Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana also said, oh, I'm sorry, I missed something. A Chanukah on the first line. A Chanukah light that was placed above 20 amos from the ground, psula, is invalid. As in the case of a sukkah and a mavui. Who knows what a mavui is? Mazeh mavui. Sukkah, ajidat mazeh sukkah. Everyone knows what a sukkah is.
Yeah.
If the schach of a sukkah is more than 30 feet high, no good. Because you have to be able to feel and know you're sitting in a sukkah. And you can't know that, you can't see it to go up like that. So it has to be something that you're aware of when you sit in the sukkah without having to strain yourself. There's also a mavui. What's a mavui? Mavui is a alleyway. In fact, you want to you need to look at footnote 2. Look at footnote 2. I'll tell you outside, then I'll look at the footnote 2. Let's say you have an alleyway that leads straight into the street. The alleyway is like a dead end. So it's closed from 3 sides. So it's considered a private domain. There's no problem carrying there. I'll be according to Torah. The rabbi said because it's open to the street, it's so easy to make a mistake and walk into the street carrying because it's open. Even though it's closed from 3 sides, which is enough to make it a private domain and you'd be allowed to carry, the rabbi said if you want to carry there, have a reminder. What's a reminder? Have a cross beam that goes across, indicating stop. Remember, it's Shabbos. Don't walk past the beam into the open street. But what happens if the beam is too high? The cross beam is 20 cubits high. I can't even see it. If I can't see it, then it's not kosher. It has to be a cross beam. It's called a korah, kuf vav resh or lechi korah. You have to have some kind of reminder not to pass it. But if it's too high, it's disqualified. So Chanukah, Sukkah, and Mavui all share. That's what it says in the footnote 2 over here. If you look it up, you can see. One is from Masechta Sukkah, and the Mavui is in Masechta Eruvin, Tractate Eruvin, which talks all about an Eruv that we make on Shabbos, or we have to carry. So that if a cross beam, a korah, placed over the entrance of an alleyway is more than 20 amos, more than 30 feet off the ground below, this adjustment to permit carrying in the Mavui on Shabbos is invalid, and same halacha of Chanukah and Sukkah. Let's go further. The Gemara presents another exposition by the same rabbi, Rav Noson Bar Manyumi. Omer Rav Kahana, Dorav Rav Noson Bar Manyumi, Mishmei Rav Tanchum. Since we're talking about one thing he mentioned, it's not a very common sage that we don't have too often in Shas. So the Gemara put all the things that he said in one flow. So another thing Rav Kahana said in the name of Rav Noson Bar Manyumi, who said in the name of Rav Tanchum. And all of a sudden we leave the laws of Hanukkah and we go into the parsha of Vayeshev, about Yosef. Because we always read about Yosef during Hanukkah. What it means to add. And at Hanukkah we add a candle each night. Don't forget, we learned in the Sikha, the oil of the menorah was getting burnt and it didn't go down. And Yosef was in 2 worlds at once. He was involved in the world and above the world at the same time. So Yosef is very well with Hanukkah. It says, "V'habor reik ein bo mayim." Im katuv kvar v'habor reik, ani yodei kvar she'ein bo mayim. Ma ze reik? Reik. Lama katuv v'habor reik, the pit was empty, there's no water. Just say v'habor reik and I'll know there's no water. Why do you have to say ein bo mayim? It's redundant. Mimashma shenemar. Sorry, my dechsiv. What is the meaning of that which is written regarding the pit into which the brothers threw Yosef? V'habor reik ein bo mayim. Mimashma shenemar v'habor reik. Mimashma. From the plain meaning, what I can imply from the word v'habor reik in the beginning of the verse, and the pit was empty. Eini yodea she'ein bo mayim. Would I not know that if it's empty, there's no water in it? If it has water, it's not empty. So why do you have to mention there's no water? Ella, but rather, ma Talmud lomar ein bo mayim. What teaching does this Torah mean to convey when it states that redundantly no water was in it? Why is that added? To teach you there was no water, but there was something else. There were snakes and scorpions. Now the obvious question is, if there were snakes and scorpions, Reuven says to his brothers, don't kill him. Throw him into the pit. Really? And he'll die there also. Don't kill him with your hands, but throw him into the pit. What kind of solution is that? So one answer is Reuven did not know that it had snakes and scorpions. It was a very deep pit, and he couldn't see, and he thought it was just one of those pits that are not dangerous. Another answer is he actually knew there were snakes and scorpions. He tried to do. Reuben is saying like this: if we kill him, we have free choice. Hashem cannot intervene with our choices. If we kill him, he'll die, and Hashem is not going to mix in. But if we throw into the snakes and scorpions, if he's really right, if he's a tzaddik, the snakes and scorpions won't touch him. Let's see how Hashem deals with the issue here. Let's put it in Hashem's hands. Let's not take the law in our own hands. Leave it into Hashem's hands. For Hashem to Hashem will make a miracle. That's what some say Reuben's calculation was. Reuben actually believed that Yosef is much more innocent than the brothers did. And therefore he felt he will probably come out alive. He's not, and it also means Yosef has a power that even if you put him into a pit, you put him in an environment filled with snakes and scorpions, literally or figuratively speaking. Klipot, all kinds of klipot, he will come out. He's not going to lose. He doesn't get lost, no matter how far flung he's thrown. Look what happened to Yosef. Look, his brothers hated him, lost his mother, they were very close. His father's mourning, so he's also mourning after his father's mourning. Feels very close to his father, and he knows his father is devastated. His brothers hate him. He's all alone in a dungeon. He's by Eish Potiphar, and she accuses him of something that she's the guilty one. You can imagine what kind of life he's going to do. And what does he see? He sees the image of his father through a window, it says. He doesn't get lost. He does not get lost. This Yosef, nothing can take him away. He sees his connection, but how far he did, by letter of the law, he might have been allowed to give in to her because his life was in danger. I mentioned that in the previous class. But you did not allow himself to hold good strong. You know what? I heard an interesting shot. You know what he saw? He didn't go and see Yaakov image. He saw how Yaakov believed in him. Because there's two words, Vayima'en. Vayima'en lihisnachem, Vayima'en to go to give in to Potiphar. He saw how his father says, I don't give up on my Yosef. I don't give up on him. I trust him. When Yosef saw Yaakov's trust in him, that gave him the strength to overcome all the difficulties. When the kid sees that the parent believes in the kid, in the child, and trusts and says, no, I will never give up. I know he or she will come out. That itself gives the child the strength to go out and come out of it.
Wow.
And on that word by Elijah, there's a shall spell as that one, that truck, that sound. Force. No. Said forcefully. That's when she ripped his coat off, claimed that he left it here because he ran away when he heard me scream. What a life. This is the Shem Shemayim. See, some people do the Shem Shemayim. My way or the highway. And what did Tamar do? I'm not going to embarrass Yehuda. If he doesn't get the message, I'll let myself be burned in fire with my baby inside, not to embarrass Yehuda. Look at the difference. They both did the Shem Shemayim, it says. But Tamar, really is the Tadek is here. I know I have Mashiach in my, but Mashiach doesn't come from embarrassing somebody. If my child is Mashiach, then it cannot come through hurting, embarrassing Yehuda. Even though Yehuda was a little bit to blame over here, not her fault. It's his fault. You know, a lot of his fault. And yet, God forbid to cause an embarrassment to Yehuda. But you gotta give Yehuda some credit too. He admitted it. Some rabbis would never want to admit such a thing. It would be below their dignity to admit such a thing. Yehuda admitted it. He said she's right. Yes.
How do we learn that it was filled with snakes and scorpions? I know that Rashi says that, but
Because otherwise, why would it have to add with no water? If it just means there was nothing in there, just say rake. Bar rake would tell us everything.
why couldn't it be like filled with mushrooms or something else?
Because mushroom has no significance. There's no
Yeah.
significance.
Why not something poisonous? Why? Like
Snakes and
something else?
scorpions. It doesn't have to be only snakes.
Okay.
Anything is poisonous. I mean, it doesn't only include snakes and scorpions. It means what you usually find in a bar is snakes and scorpions. It can be anything that's dangerous.
From mine. I think the opposite from light.
You're asking why? Yeah, because I don't think it means only snakes and scorpions. Anything that could be very dangerous in a pit. So it didn't have any good. It had bad. Don't think it was completely empty. It did have some bad stuff in there. But you know why? Why come the Torah just right? But how boring
Yeah.
The answer is, you know how your mind becomes, the Bor also mean our mind. You know how our mind becomes filled with foolishness?
Mm.
By not having Torah. Mayim is Torah. The
Really?
moment you don't have Mayim in your head, you have something else in your head.
But there is people that learn something different, not Torah, but like philosophy on they're not like
You have to have some Torah. If a person is completely empty of Torah, usually the mind gets filled with something else. You can't have an empty mind. Emptiness is never good. Visartem, the moment you deviate and go one step away from Hashem, va'avadtem alakim achirim, you're already in Avodah Zarah. There's no in between. There's no in between. Okay, let's see a little further.
for Jewish.
Amar Rabba. Okay,
Yeah.
it talks about the left. What after about? We're already late.
Practice what's in oral.
Yeah, okay, the other page.
Thank you.
Another page also. Okay. Just one more, I know it's late. Just one. So one more thing here, where do you put the menorah? On the left side, why on the left? We just got one answer. Why would the menorah be on the left? The mezuzah on the right, you want to be surrounded with mitzvahs. What's up, Chassidus? The reason? Who knows? What does small represent? Small represents holding tzimtzum, holding back. Right is giving, left is where you take away. So what is the cause of klipa? How can klipa survive under such a with godliness that creates klipa? How can klipa survive? Because Hashem used his left hand to hold himself back for not revealing. So klipa's life source is based on small, on left. Hanukkah has the power to subdue the left, to illuminate the left. Once you illuminate the left, there's no room for klipa to survive. That's one of the answers of Chassidus. So much to talk about. Yeah. That's what Gemara talks about over here. That the Hanukkah lift, where do you put it? I'll ask one more. Yesterday I had a model club with my grandson who had his first time without film. So I have to throw in, I have to speak. What did I say? I asked him, what's the connection between Hanukkah and film? Oh, I told him, which hand you put your film on? Left hand. It's the only mitzvah that we do with our left. Now, if you're lefty, it's on your right hand, but that your right hand becomes your left, your weaker hand. Hanukkah is on the left and film on the left. So the Hanukkah connection, Hanukkah has a lot of connections, a lot of mitzvah. To the menorah, because of light. To the mezuzah, they're both by the doorpost. To tefillin, they're both on the left. And the Rebbe says this is the first Farbrengen after the 6-Day War, where the Rebbe spoke about where he came up with mitzvah tefillin. The first Hanukkah, after the 6-Day War, in 1960, the end of 1967, December of 67, there was a Hanukkah Sikha. But the Rebbe explained the importance on Hanukkah, especially, to get as many people to put on tefillin. Because the power of vanquishing the left comes from the tefillin, left hand, and even the head tefillin, but not on the head. It's meant to be seen by all the goyim. When the goyim see, they get scared. Either they respect you or they're scared of you. I have this story. There's a story, I'll include this last story here, that it was a soldier who was in a same bed, same room, hospital room as an Arab. He was injured. The Arab said to him, who are those people? What people? You didn't see them. I thought we were trying to attack you. We ran away because we saw three holy people, three white people, long white beards coming to attack us. And go like that, leave my children alone. Like, you didn't see it. You didn't see that. I don't know, it's the Yaakov probably. Who knows? But they can see something we can't see. This happened during the 6 Day War. I witnessed it. It was unbelievable. The goyim in the world went. Israel is well known. You don't know about Israel. But on the radio show, they said, a biblical proportion. Israel is succeeding on biblical proportion. Where's the regular radio? WINF.
You took a shower.
Oh my God.
And I brought all my clothes.